Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in the example 1 is create a basic element so that we can print to the screen onto our console. In order to do that, we need a method that we were using from before that Unity supplies us with. We're going to type the word void and then start with a capital S and open and close parentheses and then open and close curly Q brackets. Now if you remember, start capital S, this is a method. This is one that Unity already has defined, meaning that when Unity runs this script, on initialization on the start of this script, it's going to run whatever inside of this block right here. Okay, so for us, whatever it runs inside of here, we're going to put something that prints to the console. And to do that, we can use the word print or we can use the word debug. Debug, notice that if you start typing the word with a capital D, if you put a period after this, this is going to access the next elements inside of debug. So what does debug have available for us? Inside the drop-down or IntelliSense, it's basically like going into a folder, is that when you push the period, it's going to let you see what you can have inside of it. And notice we have one that says log. We're going to use the one for log. This is going to allow us just to do a basic print statement. Now in order to use the log is a method, which means we need our parentheses. And then we want to end our sentence. So this is our entire sentence right here. We want to end it with a semicolon. So that's going to say that our statement is complete. Now what do we want to put inside of here? For a log statement, you can put quite a bit. The end result is that the log statement is going to print out a string. So it's going to be text. I'm going to put our quotation marks and then type in, let's do our standard hello world. Okay, so you have void start, you have debug log, hello world inside of quotation marks. You can push save, so Control S to save or go up to File. You can go to Save or Save As. If we go back into Unity, it's going to compile over that bottom right corner. When it gets done, you'll notice that you have the script compiled. Now if we push play, nothing's going to happen because this script isn't connected to anything in the scene. So let's go ahead and unplay. To assign the script, we'll look at 3 different ways. We'll assign it to the main camera. It could be any object if we wanted. Actually, let's go ahead and do a new object. That way we can keep it clean. We'll say create empty. And let's call this new game object example 1. You can go to assign it, you can go to components. You can go down to scripts and you'll see you have example 1 right there. You can also go to add component and you can start typing it in and you'll see example 1. You can also left click on this one and just drag it over here and drop it onto this one. If it's selected, you can also just drag it and drop it over to here. So a lot of different ways just to assign the object to it, to the component to it. Once I have it on here, then the next time I press play or Control P, you'll notice that you get a hello world inside of your console. So the hello world on the console, this is a standard log one. Notice over on the right hand side the filters. If I turn it off, it's going to disappear. If I turn it back on, you'll see it here. Now it only shows up once because start only goes one time. So if we go back into our script file again, and this time let's go ahead and type in the word void update, and don't worry about what void is yet. We're going to talk about that when we get into what methods are. This time let's type in debug log, and instead of hello world, let's say how are you. Now in our update, we're going to print a log command that says how are you. So go ahead and save. Be sure to push Control S or go to File and Save. And then go back into Unity. It's going to compile again. Now we can clear down here. If you just push the clear, it'll clear it, or clear on play is checked, so it'll do that. Now when I push play, what you're going to notice is a lot of things printing to the console all of a sudden. I have How Are You, but if you look over on the right, do you see how small the little handle is? And then the counter up at the top is counting. I'm almost at 700. So this one, the very first thing that printed was Hello World, and then the next thing that's continuing to print is How Are You. Now, if you notice when you reach the over on the right hand side, when Unity reaches over 1,000, on this spot it'll wind up stopping, but if you want to see the count continue, you can go to collapse. If you click on collapse right here on by the console part, it's going to collapse the same debug statements, but it's just going to show you on the right hand side the current count. Okay, so let's go ahead and push stop on this one. And if we go back to our script, so what do we have here? Well, what we have is that we have an update, and what update means is going to continually loop through. So this is where we want our game loop. This is where we want things that we want. If we want something to happen over and over again, if we want to check on things, then we want to place it inside of here. If we only want to initialize elements, then we want to place them in start. One other one just to kind of show here is that if I was printing something else, just to see the order of this, we could do one called awake. And inside awake, let's go ahead and do another debug log, but we'll say, let's just say I'm first. So with this one, if we go back into Unity, we'll go ahead and clear this and push play. Now I have collapse on, so notice it automatically starts rolled up. But if you look, which one went first? I'm first, and Hello World, and How Are You? Now we're printing to the console, which is great. We're also seeing an order of operations that happens with our script when it starts to go at runtime. So awake, this is one that Unity uses for a word. Unity also uses start, and Unity uses the update. There are a lot more of these that they use, but this is just kind of to show you a basic of it. We have the ability to print one time, multiple times. I'm going to go back to just the start. We just want to perform the action one time. Now, if we wanted to change the word Hello World, and instead of being just Hello World here, where I would consider it hard-coded in, if we wanted to make it so we could access it in the engine, then let's go above start. So any variables you want to have, and we're going to look at it here, but when you want to have a global variable, then you can place it up above here, so it's going to be in the class, in between these brackets, and outside of anything in between these. I'm going to put one, I'm just going to call this one, we'll say string, and the string, we'll call this one our message. And the message, we're going to make it equal to Hello World, and we'll end it with a semicolon. Now, this now represents this. I can go down here to my log, and I can say message, and notice it's in your IntelliSense in your drop down here now. Okay, so our type with our label is going to represent our new string value that we gave it. So if we save this one, we go back into Unity and we push play. What you'll have pop up is Hello World. Now it's external of the method we just used, however there's still nothing over in our inspector. If we want to be able to access anything in the inspector, let's go back into our monodevelop. We want to make this public. If I make this public string message, then this, if I push save, if I go back into Unity, is going to show up inside of the inspector right here. So now we have message, and it says hello world. So if I was just to type in just hello and push play, now I just have printing to the console hello. Now this is an important area to remember, because at this point you've now have a difference between editor messages and programming messages. So if I was in my code writing, I may have this, but if I have this and it's been changed, I wouldn't know it. So usually what I would tell people is that this is a great spot to test things out, but be sure that once you've tested it, if it's going to be something that's non-changeable, then either make it private or make sure that this is the same as the other. Alright, so we can change up our variable here. It changes it up inside of the code and prints it out based on what we have written there. If we wanted to make this back to what it was from before, you can go over to this option and say reset, and reset is going to take it back to that one.